who it is. Strife.
Wisa here, and I'm with Denuncy.
That's me.
Yeah, that's him. Okay, so this is the very first episode of our newly formatted game impressions where we talk side by side of what we think about the games we've played. So for this week, we're going to talk about Darksiders Genesis. You play primarily as Strife, as the fourth horseman of the apocalypse. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Denuncy. This is the first time that we're going to play as Strife. Is that right?
I think it's even the first time we ever see Strife, because while I've played some of the Darksiders 1 and 2 games, not the third one, there was no indication that Strife was there, because the mainline games, they always have only one of the horsemen in the major part. So I think this is the first time we've seen him. So he's like Strife is really interesting. It's a very comedic person.
Yeah, very comedic indeed.
Yeah, he's actually it's a very nice contrast, because War, for the people who played Darksiders 1, he's very serious. He's very passionate about following the council and the council this, the council that. Strife, on the other hand, he makes jokes. He has sarcasm. He's very playful, even though he's he's a horseman of the apocalypse. It's a very nice contrast.
And so with this game, you will get the chance to play as Strife and War. So it's a single player and a co-op game as well. When you play by yourself, you get to choose between Strife and War. You can switch between the two because they actually have certain characteristics which you need in order to solve some puzzles. Now, what we've been doing so far is a co-op playthrough. I primarily play as War, and Denuncy plays as Strife.
Bang, 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 bang. Yeah, Strife. The playthroughs actually are very, very different for both of them, because War is exactly like 90% like War in Darksiders 1. He has the same moves, he has the same Vorpal blade, he has the same the hand that reaches the enemy. I forgot what it's called.
I think it's Ghost Chain, right?
The Ghost Chain, yeah, something like that. He also has those same wrath abilities where lots and lots of swords come out of the ground for some reason. Yeah,
I love that. I think it's one of those special moves, right?
Mm-hmm. It's called the Wrath ability, yeah. While Strife, on the other hand, he is very ranged focused, so a lot of dodging is more important actually here, because you are very, very fragile, and you need to focus on ammo and ammo management. Those have a finite supply.
Okay, so before we get to the core of the gameplay, I'd just like to say that for those of you out there who is watching, Darksiders Genesis is a prequel to Darksiders 1, where your task is to stop Lucifer from disrupting the power balance in Hell. So this is an isometric hack and slash action game developed by Airship Syndicate. Okay, so let's get on to the impressions proper. Let's start off with not so good experiences so far. So my personal experience was that on the first day of the launch, I've encountered several bugs. No, actually we both did, but I think mine was pretty annoying because the game crashes every so often in the first chapter. So what happened was, as we were traversing Hell, my game just crashes. We don't know what the trigger is, so we were just theorizing that it might be when War hangs out at the edge of
It's when you die.
It's when I die. I don't think so, dude. I don't think so. But anyway, Denuncy was helping me look for a solution, but at the time it wasn't available. So we did write to the support teams and so on and so forth until he found a workaround.
In our case, it was a process of upgrading Wisa's video drivers. So it looks like her drivers were 6 months out of date. I don't remember. So we upgraded to the latest version, and then it worked. No more crashes. I never experienced the crashing issue because my drivers were a bit more recent than Wisa's. So
lucky you then. Okay. In addition to updating the drivers, we also had to set the screen mode to full screen instead of the default windowed. That officially solved the issue.
Oh yeah, so, I mean, we tried those two things.
Yeah, those two things have to go hand in hand with each other.
Another bug that we experienced was in, I think it was chapter 4. There was an ice cavern area, and then one of the side quests was that we had to, I think we thought we had to shatter a number of enemies who are trapped in ice. You are in an arena, and then periodically some of the enemies shatter automatically. Okay, so they explode and then you can fight the enemies. At one point, the game just stopped shattering the enemies, so we were literally stuck in that area because the next part of the fight wasn't triggering correctly. So it took us a while. We tried many things. We tried dying. We tried going to a checkpoint. It didn't work. What we did do was we exited to the main menu, and then we went back to the game. While that fixed the progress, we were able to go through the door, no problem. It did bug out a bit with the side quest progress, so we were unable to finish that one specific side quest. But we were able to progress with the main game, which is, I think, more important because actually one of the things about this game is it encourages you to backtrack. I think we're going to a tangent now. We're going to the
Yeah, definitely. We're gonna go with the good parts.
So one of the nice parts about this is the puzzles because you go back because when you unlock new equipment, new powers, stuff like that, you can access things that were previously inaccessible to you.
Actually, you know what, Denancy? I'm glad that we're doing a co-op playthrough. If it were only me, I wouldn't know that we can backtrack through most of the chapters because this is my first time to play Darksiders at all. But like in terms of God of War, I didn't need to backtrack that much. I mean, I'm talking about the God of War, the first one,
Yeah.
back in the PS2 days. The puzzles are they're interesting because I like that you have to, what?
It's interesting, the same as hard.
Well, I don't think it's hard. It's more of just, it really requires you to know your environment very well, and it requires for you to be sensitive of what you have and what you can use in order to progress in the story. So that's what I do find interesting about it, and also that you utilize both Strife and War.
I think that the war had more exposure earlier, but we're slowly unlocking Strife's powers as well.
The next one is the gameplay.
Oh yeah, the gameplay is lovely. It's super reminiscent of the Darksiders franchises. Something that should really be mentioned is that the previous games were, of course, there were over-the-shoulder third-person action games, and this one is an isometric. It looks like an ARPG, but it's not. Not really an RPG, I guess. But it's a total perspective shift. While most games, when they totally change genres, they don't have the same charm as the mainline games, but this
Yeah.
one, it feels so much like Darksiders 1 and 2. The combat, it feels the same. The finishers, they're the same. It's really translated very well into changing of this perspective or the changing of the genre. Yeah, they did a great job with migrating to something that feels fresh but at the same time familiar. The movesets of both are not as big as what you would have in a main Darksiders game, because in the main games you have a way more moves, you have way more stuff. I guess that's because they had to balance two characters now instead of having
Yeah.
one.
So in relation to the gameplay, what I enjoyed as someone who has never played any of the Darksiders game is how nostalgic the experience is. And by nostalgia, I'm referring to the God of War 1 title, Prince of Persia. I grew up with those as a kid and loving all of the puzzles of the hack and slash from God of War and the platforming in Prince of Persia. This one feels like a spiritual successor of both of those games. I was a huge fan of hack and slash, but then again, I didn't know where else to go after God of War. And so this was definitely my favorite part of the gameplay. The hack and slash portion makes you want to kill more enemies. I think that's the core part of this game, which makes it super fun. And you feel powerful by having to just use your melee weapons. Oh, by the way, guys, War is a melee-centric character, whereas Strife, as what Denancy mentioned, uses primarily guns, but I think he also has a sword, right?
Yeah, he has. It's not really a sword. I think I'm not sure what kind of blades he has, but
He has
does have
blades.
melee attack.
Another positive note is upgrading your stats and capability.
I guess there's a new system. It's very reminiscent of the material. Wait, not the material. The sphere grid in Final Fantasy X.
Ah,
But it's yeah. Remember?
oh my gosh, yes.
Except-
Are we
Except
going?
it's not really a grid. It's like more of a a small branch.
Oh yeah, a small branch.
So what happens here is that you collect items called creature cores, and these creature cores have innate abilities in them. Like one creature core just gives out flat stat increase. Some of them have special effects, like they augment your skills in different ways. Some of them leave molten lava trails whenever you dodge. What happens in the creature core tree is each node corresponds to some kind of stat. So like this stat will increase your health. If you match a creature core's type to the node's type, it'll give you another bonus entirely. So you can technically use any creature core in any node. You will not be getting any bonuses. You'll just be getting whatever the creature core does. The cool thing about that is it's very customizable, and it also makes you revisit your build. Like a lot of games, when you build your character, it's just a set and forget kind of thing.
I do have to agree that there is certainly a level of customization which makes your playthrough actually much more specific based on the style that you want to play it as. And on top of these upgrades and these creature cores, you also have what you call the souls and the boatman coins. So you collect souls when you kill enemies, or you can discover them in chests. And there are also boatman coins scattered across the entire areas. So you collect those in order to purchase creature cores and additional upgrades from both Volgrim and Dis.
Yeah.
So yeah,
This is
that's pretty
actually a
cool.
new character. She wasn't in the previous games.
Oh,
Or
I
at
didn't
least
know
maybe
that.
I wasn't able to get to those
Okay.
parts.
In relation to these upgrades, when you were mentioning the cores, what I thought about is how good and clean the user interface is, or the UI, because it's actually very simple to understand.
I guess some of the controversial parts of the UI is the map. When you open the map button, it just shows the layout of the land. It doesn't show the player's current position. So I didn't talk to a dev, but I saw a dev post on the Steam forums that the reasoning behind that is that they didn't program their map as a 3D object, and thus they couldn't plot the player's point on that object. For some reason, I don't understand why they couldn't plot it on a 2D object, which is the map.
Yeah, that's also what I'm wondering about.
They said that they're listening to everyone's feedback and they might patch it later on, but it's not something that they can immediately do
Mhm.
because it is not how they originally planned it. I'm okay with the map because for me, it makes you pay attention to the landmarks of what you see. It makes you pay attention to the look, the shape of the areas. I guess a bit more difficult because we're used to seeing ourselves on the map. But
Yes, of course.
this
Yeah.
makes it a bit more challenging, which is okay. I guess it makes you stop to smell the roses again. for a bit.
When you see the map, there is actually a legend for important items. So you have a legend for your chest, for your boatman coin, for your trickster door. So you have everything laid out. It's just a matter of looking for the right landmark so that you can plot where you are correctly in the map, and then you can navigate your way through it. And to add to this one, to the UI simplicity, is the tutorials, which are very straightforward. So what I like about it is you won't miss it, so you would definitely know what you have to do next.
So yeah, all in all, I think Darksiders 2 Genesis, actually not 2. Well, Darksiders 2 is a great game, but Darksiders Genesis is also it's shaped up to be a very very enjoyable experience. It's currently out on PC. I'm having fun, though we're still in chapter 4 or something 5.
Guys, thank you so much for watching. We will definitely finish the game, and we will be providing a full review here on our YouTube channel. So, let us know what you think in the comments section below. If you're planning to buy Darksiders Genesis anytime soon, or how your experience is going if you're playing the game. If you enjoyed this video, sharing and subscribing to the channel helps us a lot. Following us on Twitter or joining our Discord will also help immensely. Thank you for watching and have a great week ahead.